I am Ray, and this is what is holding you back from living your best life. You are not allowing yourself to be transformed by the fire. The fire of suffering, that is. You see, oftentimes in life, we're so desperate to get what we want, some object of our desire. So we get obsessed with wanting something. And well, of course, that's going to make you frustrated when you don't have what you want. But what we must understand is that we cannot receive what we desire until we become the one who you could say is an energetic match to that desire. Life is set up in this weird way where you can't get what you want until you become the version of you that already has it. And life will keep presenting to you certain problems, certain struggles, suffering that is needed in order for you to be transformed to get what you want. But when we resist the fire, it slows us down. It prevents us from being that energetic match. Oftentimes, the fastest way to get what we want is to slow down. I know, it's hard. Have patience. But trust me, you want to slow down. Because if you got what you wanted right now, you'd probably ruin it. Whatever it is that you want, it can be a great curse if you're not careful. What was that quote? It was, God delays your plans, or God destroys your plans because your plans were going to destroy you. Thank God. Thank God we didn't get what we wanted, at least at that moment. So right now I want you to say it. Be grateful you haven't gotten what you desired, and watch how it comes faster. Because when you can show gratitude for the delay, for not getting what you want, well, you express deep wisdom. And you show God, you show life, that you're not just so frivolous with your power. It's kind of like how God talked to Solomon. I think it was Solomon. And God asked Solomon, hey, man, what do you want? You can have all the riches in the world. You can have all the stuff. And Solomon said, I wish to have wisdom. And through the wisdom, he got everything else. In the same way, well, there's two kinds of people. There's people who are frustrated, they're not getting what they want. I've been there. But eventually you realize and become a second person. Those who realize the grace of delay. Those who become grateful for not getting what they want. Because they understand that if you're not ready, what you want will destroy you. And it will leave you far worse than before. And if you pay attention, you can see we're shifting our energy. We're going from this state of kind of uptightness, tension, frustration, irritation about life not going the way we want. And we start to kind of just relax. We relax into ourselves and stop worrying about it. Because when you realize that the delay is a good thing, you can kind of just rest easy, knowing that, well, it's still going to come to you. Maybe not in the way you thought, or maybe not in the time frame you thought. You understand that, oh, okay, let me allow life to transform me into the one I need to become. And sometimes that looks like taking a big detour from the path, and you spend your time, no, I'm not going the right way. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be going that way. But we try to understand with our monkey intelligence the ways of divine intelligence. Meaning, as a temporary relative being, we try to understand the absolute and the ultimate. That is why they always talk about, how God's plans are so mysterious. And my suggestion is just stop trying to figure it out. Who cares? Why do you need to know? Well, it's because the more we're stuck in animalistic consciousness, the more we need to control our reality. The more we need to force outcomes. So in this lower consciousness, we become bound by certain laws. The more your energy is stuck here in the body, the more you will be a slave to your senses, the more reactive you will be. The body is the unconscious, and so the more unconscious you will be. The problem being stuck here is that no matter what is happening, you will always kind of be a slave to your circumstances. Let's say you want cash money. if you're rooted in animalistic consciousness, you're going to use your senses to detect, where's the money? Where's my money? And if you have none, well, guess what? It's going to make you feel bad about it. And that bad feeling is going to reprogram into you a negative self-identity when it comes to money, which is going to keep you in lack and scarcity. If you want a relationship, and you're using your senses to detect, where's my relationship? And it's not there, well, guess what? You're going to be frustrated. Simple. What you want is not happening. And so there's resistance to life. That's how resistance is created. And that is how suffering is created. Suffering is literally the experience of life not going the way you want it to in a particular moment. And you see, the body and the ego are directly linked. The ego is like, if you imagine, a little alien in your brain riding this body like a robot. You are a little alien inside of this robot body. But the point is, the ego's main imperative, its drive, is to, well, satisfy this animal body and direct the instincts, these really powerful primordial forces that need expression in our life. And so when you're stuck down here, you will not feel happy or at peace or get what you want. First of all, until you feel safe, until your sexual needs are met, until you got some social status, you got friends. These are the things that the body's after. Now, it's not bad to try and master these things. That's not the point. The point is the ego and the body are on this hamster wheel that never ends. It's always trying to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. And eventually you realize that tactic doesn't work, because you are a higher being and you need something greater to satisfy you. And so what we want to do, we want to start living from spirit, especially not living from mind. Think of living from the body or animalistic consciousness as the game of life, and it's an open world, and it's up to you to figure everything out. You kind of just gotta do things, and you have fundamental drives that drive you to do things. But what happens is that when you start living from spirit, you transcend this material existence, and you start playing the game at a different level. And you see this process. Think about the transmutation of states of matter. The body, which is solid, it's ice, like in water, for instance. And through your experience in the animalistic consciousness, suffering will be created. Suffering is like fire. So you start to burn. And what happens? Well, in the same way, when you heat up an ice cube, not the ice cube, but Anne. Not Anne the ice cube. Do you think there's an ice cube out there named Anne? Maybe. The ice cube melts, okay? Turns into water. Water is also the element of the mind, if you did not know this. But as you keep heating it, it turns into mist, which is the same nature as spirit. Fire and air. And the thing is, at some point, everyone's going to experience this. Because we begin in deep unconsciousness, and then we wake up. We live from animalistic consciousness, and then we rise higher. I mean, technically, we begin as spirit, incarnate into body, then return to spirit. Like rain. First we rain down, create bodies of water. Then the sun evaporates the water, return to spirit. Eternal cycle. You see, the frustration comes because we're not playing the right game. We have to stop paying so much attention to just getting what we want and pay more attention to being free. Because the desires of this world will only enslave you if you don't realize that they don't bring true satisfaction. True satisfaction is found in reconnection to the spirit. The spirit itself is free. And when you connect to the spirit, you too become free. But you can imagine, like the body, it's like a little prison. It's stuck. You see, I think this is how a lot of people experience spiritual awakening. At least that's how I experienced it. And again, I think most people will experience this. If not this life, the next. And to demonstrate, I will repeat my famous quote. The source of all suffering, the reason we suffer, there's one. And that is unconsciousness. Ignorance. You see people who create suffering in their life. It comes through emotionally reacting. It comes through not being able to handle the animal instincts. It comes from your lack of awareness of the truth. Like, for instance, if you're suffering because you're not getting what you want, or you're not getting what you want because you don't know how to get it yet, it's ignorance. But the source of all enlightenment is suffering. So what this means is that when we are living in unconsciousness, we suffer, and that suffering wakes us up. So we're living in a deep sleep. And the more we get hit with the sting of suffering, it makes us more conscious. It makes us more conscious, more awake, more paying attention, more focused. It's like snap out of it. Throwing water on your face. I'm giving you a good slap. And the more enlightened we become, the more we become free from suffering. It's simply the play between darkness and light. Unconscious is dark. Enlightenment, can you guess? Looks like it says dank. Dank enlightenment for you. Top shelf enlightenment. And so what we want to do is we want to allow life to show us the way. We want to slow down, step one, and we want to kind of reflect. And you want to become aware of where you are suffering in your life. What are the themes? What are the areas of your life that aren't going the way you want it to? So you identify a pattern, and you'll intuitively understand this when you begin reflecting, because you as a human being are designed to detect patterns. So you might have this phenomenon with money where you just seem to never have any. That's going to create a lot of suffering. And so what you want to do is you want to allow yourself to be transformed, to go from this animalistic state of consciousness. And I'm not making fun of you. It's just how everybody lives. You look out into your world, you don't see the results that you want. And therefore you suffer. Instead of using your senses to determine your reality, you use your imagination. And this is how you break free. So where's the problem? Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it being social? Is it talking on camera? What areas of your life are causing you trouble? Are you struggling with negative thoughts? Anxiety, overthinking, depression? Just think of one thing for now, because you could always go back and do more once you understand how this process goes. You find one area of your life that's not going the way you want, you reflect upon that, and you get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is always this. It's called emotional memory. When you are exposed to a certain pattern, your system, your mind, your body, it has to know how to react to that pattern. And it only knows how to react to that pattern based on your past experiences. So for instance, you take money. If you've had more negative experiences with money than positive ones, you're going to have negative emotional memory attached to that pattern. And it's going to cause you to stay stuck in lack and scarcity. If any emotional memory is negative, technically speaking, it's called trauma. And if you have trauma toward money, toward relationships, toward social skills, toward anything, it's going to create massive problems in your life. And it's going to keep you stuck living a life you don't want. Good news is, this is all it is. All it is because you felt a certain way about a certain thing for long enough that it's become the default state. With this, you could turn any homeless person into someone who's financially successful. You can turn anybody who sucks at talking to people and make them the best in the world. And you can take someone who always struggles with relationships and turn them into somebody who doesn't struggle, because all it is emotional memory keeping you stuck. And guess what? The fire of suffering, through the experiences we have, it burns away that trauma. Not always, but often. So think about karma for a moment. A lot of people get karma confused, but in my estimation, karma is the information stored in your system that causes you to act in certain ways, that causes you to think in certain ways, feel in certain ways. It's your unique energetic signature. The word karma technically means action, but what it really means is all the information that influences you to act, creates a chain of events that eventually leads to a consequence that is your experience in reality. So based on your unique karma, that will determine the experiences that you have, cause and effect. So if your experience is being broke, it means there is an underlying cause that is the negative information stored in your body. If your experience is addiction, there is trauma, negative memory. And think about it practically. If you've been screwed over in the past, let's say with a relationship, you got hurt. So of course, next time when you get into a relationship, you're going to be a bit more cautious because your system is designed for survival. Your body is made to keep you alive. And how does it do this? It stores memory in the body so that the next time you come into contact with that pattern, you can act without thinking. And what is acting without thinking? It's unconsciousness. It's unconsciously reacting. Now that can be good or bad. And so what happens is that with the traumatized pattern, your body will send you into fight or flight whenever you're exposed to that pattern for survival purposes. Think about anxiety for a moment. What is anxiety? It's a survival response. Let's say you're going out with friends or you're going out socializing. Or maybe not. Maybe you're just going to the store and you find yourself anxious. Why is that? It's because your body remembers negative experiences in the past when it comes to other people. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe one time somebody made fun of you. And if that experience was strong enough, the memory stays with you forever until you overwrite it. And so what will happen is that when you go around other people, your body will send you into fight or flight, pump you with anxiety, so that you can be aware of potential threats in the environment. Well, that's all anxiety is. It's just a preparation, preparing you to act. And you see, life is kind of this game of experiencing our karma and allowing that karma to be burned off. The Hindu monk Swami Sarvapriyananda, he said it like this: when the bad things are happening, think of it like your bad karma is burning off. And when the good times are happening, think about it, your good karma is burning off. And this is the point I was making in the very beginning. You want to step out of your karmic predicament, as Ram Dass might say, and begin looking at your experience from a third-person perspective, or from thousands of feet above, so that you can understand the bigger picture that is going on, and not be so trapped in the psychological and emotional storm. And what this kind of allows you to do is, like, when you're going through your negative karmic predicaments, you can experience a bit of relief. A bit of like, oh, this is what is happening. This negative experience is burning off the bad karma, which is leading me to the life that I actually desire. But in order for me to get to that life, the things that are holding me back have to be gotten rid of. We have to be free from those karmic attachments, because those karmic attachments force us to give off energy that is not in alignment with what we actually want. Simple example, you want abundance, you want to live free, you don't want to worry about what you're going to eat and how you're going to make rent. And maybe you have a family, and maybe it just seems impossible. How do people get by in this life? And I'm telling you, there are people who spend their whole lives struggling, never get out. Ever. And there are people who make limitless amounts of money with no or little effort. Can you believe it? Most people can't. Why? Because you have emotional memory. One person's experience is, I've had to work and struggle my whole life to get what I want. This is the way that life is. Life is hard. Life is a struggle. Life is always an uphill battle. There's never enough. If it's not one thing, it's another. You hear people say these things. Oh, look how expensive everything is. I was at a comedy club the other day, and the comic said something about being broke, or money, or something like that. And the guy at the table I was sitting with, he just casually said something like, "Oh, I'm so broke. I know I got nothing." That's not exactly what he said, but it's the same idea. Same idea. That we say these stupid things to ourselves that keep us stuck in a reality that we don't desire. And we don't even realize that we're doing it because it's unconscious. Until you override the unconscious programming, what are you going to do? You're going to be stuck. And a big part of this is assuming the true nature of reality. You know, people assume that life is hard. And because everyone else assumes the same thing, we just believe that it's true. Can life be hard? Obviously. But is life objectively and definitively difficult? Well, it depends on which level of consciousness you're operating at. If you're operating in animalistic consciousness, everything you do is going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard. And I see it. I see the karmic predicament that some people have and some people don't. And that is people who are strongly in touch with their body. Not a bad thing. But they tend to seem to have more difficult lives. Some people are attached to their minds. Some people are more energetic. But the people I've seen attached to their body seem to get it the worst. So for instance, in my experience, I am someone who is naturally more spiritually inclined. I'm more of a creative person, not a type A personality. And the karmic predicament that I've been in, well, first of all, generally speaking, I've had a better life than 99.9% of every human being who's ever lived. I was playing life on easy mode until obviously that destroyed my character, and the suffering I went through set me free. And now life is really on easy mode. Minimal struggle, minimal effort, minimal difficulty, because now I am free. And what freedom allows you to do, it allows you to carry bigger burdens. Because no matter what happens in my life, the burden is zero. The burden gets dissolved by God, you could say. That's why Jesus said, "My yoke is light." You don't got to give up very much, and you will receive everything. Come to me, all who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. You're going from the dense, difficult, from a place of struggle, animalistic consciousness, to the spirit, to freedom, to God. And that is done through many ways, but particularly, in the context of this video, through the suffering that this animalistic consciousness creates. Because think about like addiction, for instance. You struggle with addiction for a long time, until eventually you hit rock bottom and you've had enough. You're done with it. You don't want it anymore. Because your unconsciousness, which was keeping you stuck in illusion, was causing you to act in a certain way which created an obsession with a certain kind of behavior called addiction. And as you went through the addiction, the unconsciousness created suffering, and you became more and more awake to the fact that whatever it is you were doing is not helping you. And you no longer have the desire for it anymore because the karma was burned off. Through those negative experiences, you awakened, and eventually you transcend that behavior. Now let's look at it this way. I just thought of this. Let's say you have some addiction or some problem. If you have a positive emotional memory attached to this thing, it's going to keep you engaging in this. Because your body has been trained to learn that whatever behavior this is, there's something to get out of it. There's some benefit. There's some reward. And so your body hijacks your attention and causes you to engage in the self-destructive behavior, in the addiction, because it's like eating a tasty fruit. When you eat a tasty fruit, your body says, hey, remember this tasty fruit for next time. Because if you're struggling out in the forest for days without food, it's very important that you recognize these kinds of things if you want to survive. But because the body, the system doesn't know anything other than what you feed it through your mind, the way you consciously react to your experiences determines the emotional response. And so what happens is that you engage in the addiction over and over and over again until this emotional memory becomes 100% negative. And when it's 100% negative, you give up the addiction. But to the degree in which you struggle with it is determined by the pain-pleasure ratio. If it's 90% pain and 10% pleasure, you're on the verge of getting rid of it. If it's 90% pleasure and 10% pain, you're not going to get rid of it. And through experiencing this, you awaken to the realization that there was never really anything to gain in the first place. And once you realize that, the addiction just falls away. Because it's like putting your hand on a hot stove. What's the point? You're either doing it because you're unconscious and not paying attention, or you don't like yourself all that much. Once you realize the futility of your actions, does it take any effort to put your hand up off the hot stove? It does not. It's just a little bit more complicated with these addictions, these things that hold us back, these karmic attachments. And so this is the way you begin consciously creating your reality rather than allowing life to just happen to you and praying for the best. And it's very, very simple. All that is required is that first you recognize the traumatized pattern by reflecting upon where in life are things not going your way. What things are causing you problems, suffering? What is the effect of your life? Then you trace it back. Okay, the effect of my life in this area is not going the way I want it to because there is a cause that is negative, leading to a chain of events that eventually leads to this outcome I do not desire. So you just keep going back, deeper and deeper in. Okay, I'm broke. That's my reality. That's causing me suffering. Okay, well, that's a simple one. The only reason that one is broke is because they have a negative relationship with money. It's like having a friend. If you really love that friend, does it take any effort for you to hang out? Does it take any effort for you to give your energy, your time, your attention to that person? It does not. It's effortless. But when you hate somebody, how much effort does it take to be around that person? It takes a lot of effort. So if you have a negative relationship with money, why would money be around you? You're acting and thinking and feeling in ways that cause you to push it away. So all you'd have to do is change the emotional memory to be positive. And then you have a positive relationship with money. And then it's effortless. You don't have to try and struggle so much, if at all. People just hand you money. But guess what is needed? You need non-attachment. Because when you're attached to the outcome, it causes you to feel negative when the outcome is not what you want, which further reinforces a negative memory in your body. So for instance, you expected some money and it didn't come through. Now you're frustrated, now you're annoyed. But once you free yourself from your attachment to money, it can come, it can go. You're not bothered. You're not thinking twice about it. You stop caring so much. Think about the energy that a billionaire gives off. They go to the store. You see something for $5 versus $10. Which one do I buy? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You always buy the most expensive premium thing because you trust and have faith that more money is on the way, that there is more than enough, that abundance is infinite and limitless. You need to come from that energy if you want life to start going your way. Or let's say the problem is a relationship. Things are not going well. Well, guess what you can think? You can trust and have faith that if this doesn't work out, something better is on the way. It's not that big of a deal. Because how much does it suck to really value a relationship above everything else, and then every single problem you have in that relationship is going to devastate you? Every argument, every sense that, oh, they're becoming more distant. Is the relationship falling apart? You're stuck in this psychological drama. When in reality, if you really wanted the relationship to be the best, you have to be free from it. Two free people coming together and enjoying life together. Not two people coming together trying to possess each other and enslave each other into this contract. I love you if you do this. And if you don't do this, well, I'm going to stop loving you. And if you do that, I'm not going to love you. Because fundamentally, we come from this place of lack and scarcity, of fear, of worry, that things are not going to turn out the way we want. That there's going to be some kind of negative experience, some kind of pain in the future that we want to avoid. So we spend our time trying to control our circumstances to prevent those bad things from happening. But in the attempt to control and coming from worry and fear and lack and scarcity, we ensure that the exact situation we're trying to avoid happens. It's like if you fear your partner's going to cheat on you and you ruminate on that, they will, I promise you. If you always expect to never have enough, to always be worried about your money. You will if you expect yourself to have health problems. You will because you are unconsciously creating a reality that you don't desire through allowing negative emotional reactions to a certain kind of pattern, which programs negative memory into your body, and that programming runs your life. Because most of what we do is automatic. It's unconscious. So the key is the suffering that we experience. We allow the fire to burn away our karmic attachments. We use these experiences as opportunities to let go and surrender. And just drop that burden. You spend your whole life carrying these big bags of rocks on your shoulders, trying to worry about everything, have an opinion on everything. These are my beliefs. This is what I think. This is what I want. Being so attached to every outcome. And you just let it all go. And you find that in the present moment, there's nothing wrong. That the present moment itself, just being without anything else, is a state of perfection. That peace, love, joy, and abundance, these things are the default state, which means you don't need to do anything to get them. They are already yours. And what happens is that, well, we go through the karmic experiences, it burns off those attachments, and then we are made aware of the truth that was underneath it all. So moving forward, what you want to do, after you've recognized the problem area of your life, the traumatized pattern, and again, just stick with one so you know how to do it, and then once you know how to do it, you do it in another area. So, bad experience. Why is it happening? Because something in me is creating it. Okay, what is that? Reflect upon the nature of the problem. Okay, it's money, or it's relationships, or it's health. The reason this problem is manifesting in my life because there's negative trauma associated with that pattern. How is trauma created? It's created through feelings. The body speaks the language of emotions. So in order for you to change that memory in your body, you have to speak the language of feelings. Imagine the body like a horse and your mind, the conscious mind, as a cow person. A person made of cows. And the cow person is riding the horse. But the horse wants one thing, the cow person wants something else. And this is the source of self-sabotage. You want abundance, but the horse has been traumatized, so it's afraid. So every time you try to approach abundance, the horse turns around and walks the other way or runs. And that manifests as, well, sabotaging it all, wasting it, not being able to save it, spending it on things that don't really matter. Same thing with relationships. If the horse has been traumatized, you want the relationship to go well, but it's not going to. Because the horse is afraid, so it will cause you to unconsciously sabotage the whole thing. Because the only thing worse than known pain is unknown pain. Meaning, your system is designed to avoid future possible pain. So it will create scenarios which make that pain certain so you're not caught off guard. It's like the punches that hurt the worst are always the ones you don't see. So in some way, your system will hijack your attention, ensure that you sabotage the relationship or sabotage your money or sabotage your health, because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So you slow down, you reflect, find the trauma, now you start feeling differently about it. The horse is trained through feeling and repetition, habit. That's how you train a horse. And once I started doing this, for instance with money, I struggled for years, barely able to make ends meet, always returning to zero. And when I changed this, never worried about money again. Because now my nervous system feels safe around it, so the horse is not running away. Me and the horse are going in the right direction. So what you do, every time you come into contact with money, you appreciate it, you feel gratitude for it. You look at it and say, oh, I love you, I love this. This is so amazing. What a wonderful life. You constantly reaffirm abundance all day, every day, all the time. And anytime scarcity and lack come to play, you stop entertaining it. Oh, that's just fear. I temporarily forgot that life is always taking care of me, that life is abundant. I'm realizing that my body is afraid. Or let's say social skills. Every time you have a social interaction with someone, wow, I love talking to people. This is amazing. I love my life. I love myself. I'm getting so good at this. Positive self-talk. Over and over again until your memory has been changed. Until the horse knows we are safe here. Stop freaking out, for God's sake. Same thing with relationships. You program into your mind a mindset of abundance. If that person cheats on me, that's their problem. It's not my problem. The perfect person for me will come to me naturally. And if they're not a right fit, well, I learned something. And I can enjoy the experience without needing the outcome to be something specific. Like, oh, I really need this relationship to work out. I really like this person. He's gotta work. It's gotta work. It's like, okay. But if it doesn't work, you gotta be okay. If it doesn't work, you gotta be okay if it does work. You gotta be okay if you have money. You gotta be okay if you lose money. You have to be okay. If your health is amazing, you have to be okay if you're experiencing health problems. Because when you're attached to the outcome, you become desperate. It causes you to react negatively, programming your body in unhealthy ways. But when you're free from the attachment, when you just let go and you say, I don't know. Let's see what happens. No expectations. And you constantly affirm what you would like to have happen. You reaffirm love for your own self, for your own life, for the experiences that you have, for every moment. You essentially just program a whole bunch of good stuff. And what you will find is that as you program your unconscious mind, you change the information stored in your body. Life will begin reflecting that change back to you. Because it was always a mirror reflection. That is why they say in the manifestation communities, you cannot wait for the mirror reflection to smile back at you. You have to smile first. Meaning, if you want your reality to change, you have to change first. You can't wait for your reality to change to feel differently. Because if you do that, you're always going to be on a roller coaster, a slave to your external circumstances. You got to create from your imagination. Rise to a higher state of being, higher consciousness. And you really just get in the habit of speaking kindly to yourself with compassion, with love, acknowledging all the great things that is already in your life, acknowledging every beautiful moment. And you stop acknowledging all the negative stuff. You got to suspend disbelief a little bit because your external circumstances are a delayed reflection. So you have to trust and have faith that what you want is already yours before reality begins to reflect what you desire. And any information that comes into contrary with what you desire must be ignored. Otherwise, it's going to keep you stuck in a lower paradigm, making you feel worse because you're too attached to what you want. Just relax, enjoy your life. Allow the suffering caused by unconsciousness to enlighten you. Rest easy knowing that the struggle is designed to set you free. It's not designed to keep you stuck. It's not designed to just be miserable. And the thing is, the more clear you get on what you want, the more you will attract situations that will create the outcome you want. Just be aware that sometimes in order for things to fall into place, they must first fall apart. So oftentimes, once you have this new goal or this new vision, something that becomes clear to you, there immediately comes into the equation opposition. Bad things might start happening, like you lose your job, or you lose your house, or you lose this, or you lose that, you lose friends, you lose a relationship. Because in order for the new world to be built, the old one has to die. And if you're stuck in these states of lower consciousness, you're just going to say, why me? Why me? Why is this happening? This is not good. I do not want this. But when you start raising up a little bit, slow down, reflect, seek higher truth, you will begin to see, oh, it's obvious why this is happening. It's because it's what needs to happen in order for me to get what I want. And it's not an obstacle, it is the way. And this gives you great relief during times of suffering. It allows you to bear the storm better. Because you stop wallowing in suffering and you start making meaning out of it. There's nothing worse than meaningless suffering. But suffering that is meaningful, that is purposeful, is bearable, it's tolerable. And you will get through it. So just remember, life is always taking care of you. Everything is always working out perfectly in your favor. All is well. Allow yourself to be transformed. As I like to say, we are like great works of art in a marble block. And life, God, even just ourselves, we are also the sculptor. But as you might imagine, God has to chip away pieces of you that no longer serve you in order for that work of art to be displayed. And we don't like having pieces of ourselves chopped off. But once you start paying attention to the work of art and stop paying attention to the pieces that no longer serve you, then you allow grace to enter into your life. You begin flowing through these difficult times with ease because you understand there's a greater purpose unfolding. I am Ray, and if you feel like a slave to your thoughts and want to finally be free, check out Monster Mind Mastery. Click the link below. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be